Parenting is a brilliant horror indie game by the studio 2002 Games. It recently came out on Steam for I think either a pound or two, so if you guys want to purchase it, that'd be great because, you know, supporting indie developers is always brilliant. If you don't want to buy the game, because it's only about 30 minutes, you could even clear it in about 20. I would take my time with the game if I were you, because it's an experience you won't forget and an experience you'll miss, if that makes any sense. You can only really play this game through once. It's more of an interactive experience than it is a game, so let's get into it. There is a Steam version, as I said, but if you want to play the free version, it's on itch.io. Many people use that website. It's my first time using it, and honestly worth it because this game is great. First off, let's start off with the story. You play as a boy named Ron, and you're in a pretty tough situation, to be honest. This game touches on the topic of child abuse, neglect, and a whole lot of other issues within, you know, marriages and family issues. You've got drinking problems, you've got abuse, you've got verbal abuse, you've got all different types of things that are conveyed brilliantly in this game, and they have honestly a brilliant meaning behind them. Most horror games I don't really like because they don't have any meaning to the horror. They have no reason, you know, for you to play the game other than, oh, I want to get jump scared, which is fine enough. I know I've played many horror games that are just scary for the sake of being scary, but I really do prefer a horror game where the story actually has meaning behind it, and the scares, the disturbing scenes are all, you know, they have meaning and they're written well, and there's more to it than meets the eye. In this game, it is pretty self-explanatory what happens. I did find the plot a bit too predictable in places, but that's not really the point because it's still great, don't get me wrong. There were many hidden little things. If you paid attention, you'd be like, oh, that's really cool the way they've done this. Like a certain amount of times they knock on the door, a certain amount of times a bottle smashes. I won't really mention what that means because I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but they will come into play later on in the game when you find out the truth of what's actually happening. It's honestly great. Let's speak about the graphics next. I really enjoyed the graphics. We don't need a horror game with brilliant graphics. That's not what a horror game should be to me. I prefer horror games with not poor graphics, but graphics that are somewhat bad if you're looking at it compared to, you know, a modern looking game, AAA game. I don't find that scary because it's a AAA game. How am I meant to find a creature with ray tracing on its face scary? I know that's not what ray tracing is, but you get the point. A game with almost poor graphics that are purposely poor, it gives it more of a scary feeling, and this whole game gives you this kind of VHS 90s to 2000s vibe, which is great for a horror game. The soundtrack is good. It's all copyrighted mostly. I think there's one track in the game. There's not too much to talk about there though, because there's only two tracks in the game: the intro song and the ending song. I'm pretty sure there's like one more in between. Between, but I'm not too sure. Ignore that little choke up I had there. You know, I'm not going off a script here. I want to get this video out and I don't want to spoil anything. I also want it to be short so you guys can digest it. The gameplay, as I said, doesn't consist of too much. It's more like you walk around, you pick up a few things, you open a few doors, and that's literally the gameplay loop. But that's fine because it's not real. You're not really playing it to experience the gameplay. You're there to experience the story, the meaning behind everything. So honestly, I'm going to be give Bad Parenting 8 out of 10. It's a brilliant game, and there is a sequel coming out soon, so I will be checking that out. I was thinking of making a retrospective when the series ends. I don't know if that will be coming after the second game, because there may even be a third game in the series. I really hope it continues on and there's a couple of games so I can make a long video on it and I can use a script, but I don't really want to use a script for a 5-minute video. So yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.